Hello everyone and welcome to my Super Mario Bros. Series Revisited. This game definitely has a lot of firsts in my life. So for example, this is one of the first video games I ever played in my entire life, and I'm pretty sure it's the very first video game that I actually ever beat in my life. A few more modern firsts are the fact that this is the first game that I ever attempted to stream / record offline. And let's just say, you gotta start somewhere, right? And wow, it's funny to see how far I have advanced in a year on streaming and whatnot. But it's honestly time to go back to this very first classic game and revisit it and have it kind of up to some standards. Something of a YouTube quality video that you would actually want people to watch instead of that cringe-worthy very first YouTube video I ever created monstrosity. So when it comes to the Nintendo Entertainment Center, I was never really able to play too many Nintendo games. When growing up, we didn't have a lot, honestly, but at the same time I have no complaints because we had the most important things, which were loving parents who were always there. So when it came to material things, though, obviously I didn't have a lot to play at first when it comes to video games, nor was it even feasible for me to save up money to buy my own video games. So there was this family who were basically completely done with their Nintendo Entertainment Center, and they were moving on with their life. Maybe they were too old to play video games, I don't know. But they gave their Nintendo as well as all of their games controllers to us, which us here referring to my sister and I. I was the sibling who was more attracted to video games in general. So for the first time ever, I was actually able to, whenever I wanted, play Super Mario Brothers, because I do have some earlier memories of the Nintendo, such as including, I remember going over to somebody else's house, whose house this was, I don't know. But I remember watching and playing this. Of course, the Nintendo has two controllers, and so I remember being so focused and so attracted to this game that even when I was just holding the Player 2 controller and the other kid who was playing had Player 1 controller and was actually physically playing, I was physically pressing the same buttons on my Player 2 controller, trying to train myself how to play this game. Jump over a pipe, jump over a cliff. And it was kind of pretty fascinating to see kind of how obsessed I was with video games at an early age, even though once that initial, say, addiction wore off, I've never really been truly addicted to video games beyond when I was a super young kid. So even though I really enjoyed playing all of the Nintendo games that we had been given, and I think actually my parents ended up buying us one game, Super Mario Bros. 3. I have no idea where they would even have found it. Maybe at a used game store or pawn shop. But when I started saving up money myself, I immediately started saving up for, the current console that was released at the time. But still, it's not that I was unappreciative of the Nintendo games, because still, they all hold a special place in my heart. Even the games that I was never able to play as a kid, such as Metroid. I really love the game Metroid for Nintendo. And before the video editor throws in a few of my frustration lines, I am literally stuck again. Dang it! Stupid piece of garbage game. Now, as popular and famous as this game is, I mean, everyone surely has their own story, but at the same time, from a slightly more critical standpoint, there are a lot of things wrong with this game, and I'm not even going to delve into the limited ability of the Nintendo Entertainment Center, because, I mean, feel free to do better, is basically my advice to people who complain about super old retro games like that. But when it comes to the actual physics, right, I would say that the Super Mario Bros. 1 is my least favorite out of them all. It just feels way too bad, badly programmed. So for example, by pressing left or right or dashing, you can suddenly, within 1 or 2 frames, be in this ridiculous hyperspeed, and so then your jumps are like the largest, fullest jumps. However, it's the case that if you were only running for like 1 frame less and you do a jump, you're not at full speed, and then you have like this little weak, wimpy jump. And so I mean, like, that was probably my biggest complaint about the physics of Super Mario Bros. But the very fascinating thing is, I really love Super Mario Bros. 2. To me, that physics in that game feels like perfect. And even Super Mario Bros. 3 is another Nintendo example of, hey, Nintendo can have good physics for a Mario game. And in fact, I would say, in fact, many people believe that for Super Mario Maker, there's a shared physics that most closely resembles Super Mario Bros. 3 physics. But still, I really love Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and then Super Mario Bros. Of course, it's a classic, but definitely my least favorite of that original trilogy. My thoughts on the lost levels I will save for when I stream the Super Nintendo game Super Mario All-Stars, because that's really the first time us North Americans were able to play the true Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2. For this series, I probably won't do a showcase level by level like I did on my first series. I'm only going to attempt to roll the credits here, which there actually aren't really any credits, but I'm going to try to save the princess. Interestingly enough, Peach she was localized in North America as Princess Toadstool, and that was her moniker for really years. I believe the first time a North American game used her Japanese accurate name, which was Peach, was Super Mario 64. And in Super Mario 64, that introductory letter that she reads to Mario, because, hey, I'm inviting you to the castle, Peach. And so that's kind of interesting how it took that long for really the most famous Nintendo IP of them all, Super Mario Bros., to have all of the Japanese accurate names, such as Bowser and Peach. Of course, Mario has always been Mario. But in North America, these characters have been known to us as Mario, Princess Toadstool, and King Koopa. But I have not played this game since I did a year ago when I recorded my first series, so I'll probably be a bit rusty, but let's go ahead and find out, and thank you all for watching.